You try to angle it like that?
Yeah, try and none of that's good, but at least like that. Just turned that right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
That's okay.
Looks nice. Yeah, sure.
All right. So I have some questions for us to kind of talk about tonight. Oftentimes when we're getting ready to do an event, we get so task oriented. And so I just wanted us to kind of take a step back and do a little bit of thinking about why we're doing what we're doing. And how many years have we been doing Drive Through Bethlehem? This is going to be
10. I don't know.
over 10.
I think last year was 10, so yeah,
11 years. So when we do things over and over and over, sometimes we get into that rut of we're just doing it because we've always done it. And I think this group in particular has been really good about thinking creatively and sparking new life into the event. I mean, when we first organized this team, it was pretty lackluster, and we elevated the whole event over the course of that first year of our time together to a really phenomenal event by adding the canvas paintings and things like that, and really bringing the scenes to life and enhancing the characters and what they say and share to the public. So I wanted to ask you all what it is about Drive Through Bethlehem that, what is it that you hold dear? Like, there's a reason you're here for this. So what is it that makes it special for you?
Well, I mean, Jesus is the reason for the season, and this is a way of presenting it in a fun way to make an evening out for people to end up with Jesus being the reason for the season, and to take them back a little bit in time of how difficult life was. They didn't go to the grocery store, they didn't go to the fish market. This all had to be caught, and that's why I wanted it updated, so that you ended with the right thing after giving them the view or the drive through, as we were drive through. That's why I wanted it upgraded, was to make us stop and think and ponder about the reason for the season, to get away, I guess, from the commercialization of all of it. We don't have any Christmas trees or things, commercial things. We bring it back to a simpler time, I guess, is what I want to say.
It's okay.
Because He's given me so much, I feel like I can give this time back, so that I can be more grateful for what I can get. It makes me happy and see what places and things used to be and how they are now.
Can you hear her?
Oh,
Okay,
I'm sorry.
that's all right. So yes, so she said you want to give back because God gives so much to you. This is a way for you to do that. Okay.
Most of us learn through interaction, and it's an opportunity for families to participate in the true tingle of Christmas. And it's so often that you go to a mall or other Christmas functions that there's not even a manger scene, an angel or a cross. And without Christmas,
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. What about you, Tom? You've been doing this from the get-go, right?
Yes. Well, to tell you the truth, the reason I got into it was because I agree with what the concept is, totally. I enjoy reality, or something that I can believe in. And obviously I wasn't around when this happened, this event actually happened, but to be able to try to recreate it, to me, is inspiring. It's for myself. I don't think I want to try to recreate Christmas trees and Santa Claus. It's not that I'm saying that's wrong. It's that that's not my. It's so much meaning and so much deep reality. And I hear we all say it a lot of times. Well, they didn't have that back then. Well, I don't know if they didn't have that for sure back then. There wasn't anybody that I know that's here was there. And
Jesus was, I think you know.
and but basically that's why I enjoy it. I really enjoy being here at the church. There isn't any people have said that to me, different friends of mine or different acquaintances I have where I live and whatever. You spend a lot of time at church. Well, I can spend a lot of time in a lot of worse places. And I can't really think of a better place to spend my time. And so that's why I enjoy being at the church. I enjoy being outside. I'm not physically able to do a lot like I still have a 30-year-old mind with a 70-year-old body. It's just, I think I can do this. I think I can do that. I think I can haul that concrete. Lift one bag and I have to lift another one.
That's when we got the 50s and not the 80s.
Yeah. Well, I know when you said this was 80s.
Oh.
I was going to have to sit in the car. But basically, that's why I total belief of what we go. And the upgrades we've done through the years, I think, is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And it did start off very crudely, but I think we've come a long, long, long way. I don't have any idea how far we can go with it, or how far it will go. I don't know. Don't have any idea who's going to be involved in it in the future. I do hope that it does continue, because I think it's a really fantastic thing, especially for the community people. That's cool watching people come through it
Well,
and
the
see it,
feedback we get is
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
hearing the feedback and hearing things.
Well, it's amazing to me how many children stop to see the sheep and then get so excited and say, those are real, Mommy, Daddy, those are real, those are real sheep. And it never fails, car after car, so even in that small way of having a sheep, it's reaching them. If they don't remember anything about the scene, the first thing they'll remember is there's going to be a sheep. Then as the years go by, and then they get a cookie. Then as the years go by, you may get one or two that put it together to what it really is. But if you didn't start and get their attention, but I think we've done a phenomenal job. I think it could go far with lots more creative helpers. We need that creative punch.
That's the one thing about it. We never know where they're going to come from,
Right.
or if they will come.
Right.
And if they do,
It could go.
who knows what
Yeah.
it could be.
Has it increased over the years?
Yes, we had another record crowd last year. I think last year was the first year we broke 2,000. But that's the thing about Drive Through Bethlehem that I really appreciate is what Tom mentioned, the gift, and the gift of giving this greatest gift
Yeah.
to the community.
Right.
That we do it we don't do it just for ourselves. We probably wouldn't do it if it were just for ourselves.
Yeah.
But to be able to give that gift each year to the community, and when I go around and introduce myself as from the Drive-In Christian Church, the number of people, I've been to your Drive Through Bethlehem. People really do. It makes an impact on people.
Yes.
They really do remember it.
Yeah.
And I think it's the gift that it's really coming from our hearts.
And unfortunately, that time of year is the only time of year some children are exposed.
Yeah, no, that's true. No, I was thinking in your comments, I come at it maybe a little bit differently. I was kind of stepping back and saying, what's the mission of the church? Why are we here? What are we trying to accomplish? And I'd like to see events that we participate in, whether it's feeding the kids at Long Street or going to Drive Through Bethlehem. In my mind, I'm trying to bring more and more people into a world of Christian life. And to the extent that we can do that, leverage the birth of Jesus as a means of doing that, I think that's good. The other part of what he says, in the history of the world, there's two events that are probably the most significant: his birth and his death. And we're here to celebrate one of the greatest ones, and the King to help save us. So that's kind of my motivation to continue to participate. It's an event that I think does those type of things to bring God into more people's lives, and hopefully, and I think you do see it. I think you see it in the excitement of the children as they see the animals, and the participation, and the wonderment. I think just as people going around, no matter who it is. I like the fact that it's drive-through, because I know probably people who have said to me, I'm glad you do that because I couldn't go through the other one. And being able to stay in my car and drive through is a benefit. So, yeah, I just think there's a bunch of things, I guess, when I think of this. Yeah.
And each one of those 2,000 people says something to how many people?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There goes
Right.
this.
Yeah, Bob's right. I mean, the one connection you get from
Sometimes,
drive-through is,
yeah.
drive-through Bethel.
I did a mortgage closing today, and we get to talking about what I do. Like they say, is this all you do all day? Is just point and tell me where to sign? And I said, no, I work at my church. Oh, what church? And I say the name of the church. And they said, oh, do you know so-and-so? I said, no, I haven't heard that name before. Oh, he's the centurion at your Bethlehem event. Which those come with the animal people, so I go to church here. That's why I don't recognize the name.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's amazing how many times I say the name of the church and like, oh, Drive Through Bethlehem, or the movie nights, or it comes back. So, all right. What is it about the season of Advent and Christmas? Like, what does that time of year mean to you?
Well, it's my birthday too, so
Oh, okay.
I love it. And I'm 18 for the 48th time.
Is your birthday on Christmas?
Christmas Eve.
Oh, okay.
Which I was the only Christmas Eve baby delivered by the doctor who delivered me. And until he moved to heaven, he sent me 3 red roses on my birthday, and I was 17. So Christmas has many multiple memories for me. And my birthday, I can recall in Georgia, it only snowing one time on my birthday. We just so happened to ride goats in the snow at that birthday party. So I have crazy Christmas memories. My father moved to heaven next year. So not every memory is a good memory, but every memory is a special memory.
Right.
So I lived where where sheep and goats and chickens and cows were not unusual for children to
Right.
see. But here, I know that's an added boon.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm looking forward to the difference, because I participated in the drive through at the church hall.
All right, we got Marcia's. The rest of
I think there's something about the season that takes a lot of us back to our childhood, and causes us to remember not only the story of Jesus' birth, but how we learned it, how we shared it with our families over the years, and how we then shared it with our children, and now for some grandchildren and great-grandchildren. For me, too, being a musician, the music of the Advent Christmas season is so rich, and it just is such a wonderful time to sing those wonderful carols again.
Well, I think it does take, if you talk to people at Christmas time, they're not talking about this Christmas. They're always talking about a Christmas of normally long ago, or you see the wonder when the child this year, in 2018, opens up Lego, and your child, who's now 48, opened up Lego with the same excitement that that person is describing to you. So it is, and I think also all of us, I should say, have our favorite Christmas carol, and it's different for all of us. And I've always found that very fascinating. What is a certain person's favorite Christmas carol? And then, the congressman that just died, that's what saved them
McCain.
when he was in jail. They sang their favorite Christmas carols, and they thought it was Christmas, each one singing a different Christmas carol, but he was the only person who knew all of the words. So it can be nostalgic, Christmas, you know.
Yeah, I always think back, actually, two different worlds for me. One is, as a child, I really don't remember a lot of the religious things that were going on for me, but what I do remember, and contrast that with what you see today, a lot of the materials you see outside of people's homes and at Christmas decorations. When I was a kid, I would say that 50% of the families had a stable with manger, maybe they were plastic, maybe they were handmade, but that's what was there. And so the symbolism was a lot different to me than it is today. Today, I kind of get that same thrill because every year I go to the Stetson School of Music, a Christmas concert. And what sets me off.
I went to that last year.
It is amazing. So for now, I mean, for me, that's sort of like, it really gets me in the mindset of, okay, this is why we're doing this. And you get caught up in the day-to-day and all the things that you do now, and that sort of just sets me back and says, okay, there's a reason I want to do these things.
But you don't see those major scenes in people's yards.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
and you don't ever see them out in a public establishment. I remember going to the mall in Augusta, Georgia. Not one major scene in the whole mall.
Yeah.
Whereas 3 or 4 years prior, yes, they were there. And those children that drive through, now this may be their only opportunity to see that, and they weren't around when major scenes were the way we weren't around, but we surely are living in watching the Bible come true. So we need to be the most witness we can be.
If you had to pick one word of what meaning do you hope would be inspired by our Drive Through Bethlehem event? Could you do it in one word?
Say that again.
What meaning do you hope is inspired to the people that come to the event? What meaning for Christmas and Advent? What's the meaning that you hope to inspire through the event?
Hope would spring to my mind, the hope that somebody saw the birth of Jesus as significantly important. So hope would be my word.
We did one term.
Oh, yeah, she said, what word would you?
Truth.
Mhm.
And my second turn, inspiration.
Yeah,
Is what?
Inspiration.
That was
My
almost-
second turn.
that was almost my first, but I thought, no, it's hope.
My first one was peace.
Spirit.
Don't think the words. Mine's joy.
Awe. As in awesome, not awful.
Oh my goodness.
Or just awe.
No, I would
right.
hope that someone would just catch a glimpse of a little bit of heaven
Mhm. I
and
know.
be
Mhm.
in awe of it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What would it look like, or does it look like, in terms of changes in people's behavior or attitudes or habits, if Drive Through Bethlehem really succeeded?
Okay, you have to say it again.
What would it look like in terms of changes in people's behavior, attitudes, or habits if Bethlehem succeeds? If the event succeeds, what would it look like in the community's behavior?
Well, I think it has succeeded in the lives of those whom we have touched. And I've heard stories of people saying, this is now part of our celebration of Christmas. Please don't stop doing it, because now this is part of our tradition, if you
Yeah,
will, or
tradition.
our, and it's a significant part because it's the part that really brings home the meaning of Christmas to us. So it already has made a difference in the lives of individuals. In terms of our community, those words that we've spoken, I would hope those would become real and alive in our newspapers and on the news each evening and in our public discourse with one another, and the ways in which we treat our neighbors.
Did he just steal all of your answers?
Do we
No,
put it-
no,
we get more
not
than
yet.
one word?
A much smaller microcosm.
Yeah.
In the Lee household, I have a group of people that we hang out with. They come through one of those nights, and that night they all come to my house. It's like a big party celebrating the event. And so, that group that hangs out, I mean, they come through and they're laughing and joking and stuff, but that's the way they come in. When they leave, they're all very serious, which is kind of funny.
They're leaving in awe.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's kind of turned out that way for the last, that'll be the fourth year, I guess. But, not that we planned it yet, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of the way it's worked out.
So it is extending those relationships even beyond just the event.
Yes, yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, because they'll come back and they'll talk about, geez, with the guy at the metal shop, he was banging and howling, doing, different stuff. And how much we've improved some of the scenes, like the audio going through was recognizably better last year. So though, there's some discussion about some of the things that go on. Where were you, Rich? You weren't doing anything.
What were you hiding?
I didn't see you.
Well, I've had
There's no small road.
I've had a really cool, I'll call it a response from my family. My family doesn't live here. Nobody lives in Florida except myself. And I have a pretty large family, but they live in different places. I have some in Tennessee and some in Indiana and some in Pennsylvania and Minnesota. But the family that has been here, the parts of the family, my brother came down here one year specifically, rented a condo specifically just so he could participate in Drive Through Bethlehem. He was having a really, really hard time, and physically he was having a hard time with his heart. He couldn't breathe real well, so he couldn't participate anywhere. But he was just absolutely amazed at what we were doing, at what it took to do it, and then while he watched it, and he actually was participated as a character a couple times. I think it was a wife. My youngest sister and her husband, they come down very frequently. They have a place in St. Augustine, but they live in Pennsylvania. But they had casually heard of Drive Through Bethlehem, and they were coming down to St. Augustine, and so we're going to come down and see Drive Through Bethlehem. And they got here right as we were starting to light tiki torches, and they just stood around in awe. They couldn't believe it. They just couldn't believe what was happening. And, so I think that's what I hope that is an inspiration for the community, even the part of the community that I don't hear or don't see. That's what I think is happening. I believe that's happening. Because I know that I don't run into everybody that's ever been through Drive Through Bethlehem. But and I've also heard those comments many times in different places. If you say something, I'll say something, but I got to go to a meeting at the church tonight. Where are you going to church? Drive over on the beach side. Well, that's where they have that drive-through thing. I hear that it's related. The Drive Through Bethlehem is related to this church a lot.
Is it the only church in the area that does the drive-through?
There's a
Drive-through, yes.
There's a walk-through.
There's a walk-through, very, very likely.
Across.
Yeah. Well, my story is actually similar to Tom's. I know a girl down the street, and her 92-year-old mother lives in our neighborhood, and she just couldn't get her mother to get motivated to come. So she decided, I said, well, go on your own and just see. I really think it would be something she would like if you could get her out. So she said that she drove through amazed, went back over the bridge, told her mother was not taking no for an answer. You have to see this, Mom, you're not going to believe it. They then came back, I'm only a couple of miles away, came back, drove through twice, and that was when I didn't think it was too good the first year we put up tents, near the boats. And so then the next year, there's also another 92-year-old in the neighborhood, and the mother started in November telling the daughter, her name is Kay, we're picking Helen up. We're picking Helen up for that Drive Through Bethlehem. We are picking Helen up for that Drive Through Bethlehem. So just from that one thing of the daughter saying, okay, Kay, I will drive through, see what you're talking about. She said, oh, Mom's made it. It will be part of our Christmas until she's gone, because she just was in awe of it. So I think that's a really good way for it to reach out in the communities and Now, my children, I have 3 children, they really don't live very far away, and nobody is coming. And one day if they come.
Well, what you do is do what I do for my children. I said, this year for Christmas, I gave so much money to the soup kitchen, so you can go serve, and so that's your Christmas present.
Love it.
But I don't, I'm not that concerned, because they have to come in their own time, and that's a very, very busy time of the year, and, you know, that's just the way it is.
So in our discussion, what I've heard is that you all think that this is a successful event. It continues to increase in, I think, congregational participation as well as community participation. If we look at the attendance numbers and we look at the different kinds of people that are volunteering for the characters. So what would you say are the strengths of this event? Because we're not really questioning whether or not it's a successful event or not. So what are the strengths of it that make it successful?
I'm glad you brought up the congregational aspect, just in what you just said, because I think that's one of the strengths is what the event does for our congregation. And I'm not going to elaborate too much, but it really does, I think, strengthen our congregation, strengthen our bonds with one another at a very important time of the year.
Right.
And it really is an all-church event, all-hands-on-deck event that incorporates the gifts and talents and the creativity and the love of a lot of different people.
Yeah, I think that, to chime on that, I think one of the things that demonstrates that is, if you go back 3 years, we had trouble getting people to fill roles. Now, I think last year you actually oversubscribed the people who want to participate. And I think we've actually made it a little more complicated for people to participate, because now we're giving lines that we'd like them to say, and yet people have embraced that to some extent, some more so than others, but people are into it, so to speak. It's like, you know, this is something that really looks good. I'm proud to be a part of it. I want to be a part of it. I think that the fact that we get more people involved all the time is a demonstration.
Well, the strength, I think, is we've made it a very personal experience to each person who participates, whether it's to put it together and go from wrought iron pole fixture to a finished scene. We've made it it's a personal experience. When they put that costume on, it becomes their personal experience.
Do you think that translates then to the guest that's driving through, that personal experience?
I think, unfortunately, some of the guests driving through already have their own churches, which is good. But I think the benefit of their making this scene a part of their Christmas tradition is tremendous, not only to them, but to all of the other people they will touch. They already, of course, believe in the birth of Jesus, the ones that come through. The hope is that you touch somebody who hasn't been touched. And if they come here 5 times to see what we're about, or 1 time to see what the rest of it's about, or Christmas Eve, you know, I think we've done our job. We can't do any more than that. You know.
There's a lot of people last year, I noticed more so than the year before, or the year before that we were talking at that. But last year, a lot of people were asking me what time the services were, and, you know, what do you do during services, and where is he standing? And, you know, they asked me a lot of questions, and I just said, I thought maybe it would be a good idea if we could give them something here. This is about the church.
We do at the end.
Do you?
Mhm.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, good, yeah. Because a lot of people asked a lot of questions.
We were giving them at the beginning a few years back, but then as people were driving through, they were reading instead of looking. So
Yeah.
now we give it at the end.
Yeah, right. Don't put the car away.
That's good, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
I like that. What I've noticed through the years is what I really like about the Drive Through Bethlehem is the participation of so many more people in our congregation, and for whatever reason that is. I mean, I don't know. I don't evaluate those kinds of things, but I can remember when we first started, and I think it's just natural that it started very small. We had very few scenes and we had very few people, and that's actually where I met you for the very first time, and I'll never forget that day. I was scared to death to walk in that building. I had no idea. I heard, I don't know for how long I had heard Melissa. Who in the world is Melissa? And I walked in down there, and I was getting my assignment for Drive Through Bethlehem, and you assigned me to be a wise man. But you had already, way before it started, way before, a month or more, I don't remember when it was exactly, but you were dressed in the garb, and it had a sign on there, something like Bethlehem Patrol or Bethlehem.
Yeah, city
something-
manager or
City-
something.
Yeah, Bethlehem manager, or Bethlehem governor, or something that said, holy mackerel.
You're in trouble now.
Yeah, and that was before I ever laid a hand on trying to help set it up,
Yeah.
to build it.
I'm
Thank
sorry
you.
I have to
No,
depart.
thank you.
The other thing to add was, one of the things that happened last year, and I don't know if this applies to what you're asking, is there was a fella from Germany staying across the street. He saw what was going on. He came over, and I was up front doing something, and I started talking to him, and he spoke broken English. And I ended up taking him around in a golf cart, going through and there's some participant in the church that speaks fairly fluent German.
Okay.
Not you, okay. Anyway, so they conversed with him, and he went around, and he was just awestruck. He said, I'm taking those boxes home. Yeah, I mean, really. Take care.
Thank you.
I gotta go.
I don't know how many people we have now, to go from having 5 or 10
Yeah.
to having 50 or 60 or 70. I don't know how many people we have. There are so many people now, half the people I don't know. And I used to kind of proud that I knew about everybody.
Yeah.
But the amount of people that are participating in Drive Through Bethlehem, when they show up, I never saw them before.
Right.
To me, it's amazing.
Yeah. The other strength I heard several times was the accessibility that's offered through the event. Anybody can come to this event. If they can get in the car, they can come here. Even if they can't, we have people that walk in off the street curious, and we'll drive them around on golf carts. I had the joy of driving a couple of middle school boys through here last year. They were thrilled to death about the cookies.
Right.
They were like, "Can we go through again?" But we have nursing homes that will load their
that is
residents
cute.
up,
Yeah.
and different church groups that come through on their buses, and it's just the accessibility.
Yeah.
It is definitely a strength for the event. Anything else that you can think of?
Have you ever heard of a country song called Three Wooden Crosses? And I love the way you
I'm sorry.
I love the way you incorporate
The
the
music.
country songs every Sunday. I tell people about that. They say, "Well, I've got to come go to church with you." I said, "Well, it's working here." But there's a country song called Three Wooden Crosses, and I really don't know who does it, but it's from the mid-'70s, I think, maybe early '80s. But it's about 4 people being on a bus, and there's an accident, and 3 of them are gone, and one's a farmer, one's a preacher, and one's a teacher. The teacher leaves her knowledge with many children she's influenced. The farmer leaves his knowledge and grows, and the preacher hands the Bible to the 4th person, who happens to be a prostitute. She reads the Bible, and her son raises her son correctly, and he becomes a preacher. Yeah.
I think Russell knows the song.
I'm not.
That doesn't surprise me.
I'll pull it up for you. I turned my phone blocked in the car.
You got another question?
Ringing
Yes,
all
I
day.
do. Oh.
But something is
Okay. Our mission statement for the church, and Rich brought that up earlier, that he likes to be involved in the things that align with our mission. And I believe that there's nothing that we do in the church that shouldn't align with our mission. That everything we do should be aligning with that. So our mission statement is to be a people and a place of welcome and hospitality, of worship and praise. So my question to you is how this event aligns with, how do you see this event aligning with that statement? And I'll read it again. To be a people and a place of welcome and hospitality, of worship and praise.
Stands the hope and the truth out to the public.
I think it does the whole.
I think it does
Yeah.
the whole thing. I think it hits them all on the head. They're coming in for an experience, and it's awesome.
You get a cookie.
They get a cookie, and then they leave with seeing Jesus in the manger, which is where everything starts. And yeah, I think it hits the mission statement on the head.
So then that takes me to my next question, which I don't even know if you're going to have an answer for me, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is are there opportunities where we might be able to further align with our mission statement through this event?
Two cookies.
Do you have an Easter egg hunt for the community?
We have an Easter egg hunt. It's not an Easter egg hunt. Yeah.
But it's this event.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. This particular event.
This particular.
Is there something that you think we're not doing that we could be doing that would further align with our mission statement? Or do you think that we're there?
I don't think we're there. I would like to see village children so that, I don't know, children give you that kind of hope. And I guess we're all adults in the scenes. I'd like to see a group of village children.
I think it's great.
In the one in my church in Georgia, there were teams of angels, probably 40 angels altogether, and they ranged from age 2 to age 60 or 70. A couple of years I played Gabriel, and so I made the announcement, and then there were angels all around. Well, with the baby angels, you never knew what was going to happen, so it made it all the more entertaining, but they had to be behind the fence because there were cars involved. So,
Right.
And the other thing, I don't know if your schools up here do it, but in Titusville they have the magical choirs in their choruses. And to fill in one of those scenes where we have a little bit of blank, it would be wonderful to have a magical choir singing Christmas carols, or the old, it'd have to be the old, we'd have to choose them. But that would be just a wonderful addition to that, or even, up by the well between the hands. Just even if we could, the schools have those groups of 5 and 6 singers that sing, and if we had to pay them, I feel it would be worth it in the outreach. And then also, if you're involving school children, as you know, then you're pulling in more of the community.
Right.
A couple young kids.
Yep.
A couple of the shepherds.
And then last year, the young adults from the region came together. This was they go to get together and have an outing once a month, and so they picked serving as characters during our daytime event as their kind of service project for the month. So we got people from all over the state that came to experience it for the first time too. So.
I'm always bringing up the advertising aspect of it. I just think it's something everyone who wants to should know about and be able to participate.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't think we can advertise enough.
And word of mouth is the best advertising, so everywhere you go, say that. Grocery store. As a matter of fact, I walk the beach for 2 miles every day, picking up cigarette butts and plastic straws. And, people, yeah, there is an array of comments, but most of them are positive. And I say, well, thank you, God bless you. And I'm going to say, well, thank you. Come to our church, especially this Christmas.
Well, I thank you all so much for your feedback and engaging me in these conversations, and I think it'll produce some good stuff for my project, but also for the event as well. So thank you for walking that talk with me today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for coming and sharing ideas. I guess we'll meet again next month. Is that the plan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, it'll be this third Wednesday.